there's a lot that goes into it, as with anything, right? Okay, let's calm down. Okay, let's come back to earth here, right? Okay. Let me introduce myself again. Most of y'all know who I am. I'm Matt. My name is Matt. M-A-T-T. I'm a photographer based here in San Antonio, Texas. I work with my beautiful wife, Kelly, and our company is Route 3 Productions. You can find us at www.route3productions.com. That's my plug. But working for a magazine, folks, that's pretty cool, right? So when you work for a magazine, chances are you'll pitch a story to the magazine. Okay? You come up with an idea, you pitch the story, and you do it. Right? You get paid for it, right? Yeah, okay. So, the way this works is, let's just say you're working for a big magazine, okay, or a big website that everybody's heard of, right? And they're going to do this story that you've pitched them, right? Okay. So you go out, you've negotiated everything, you've gotten some advance payments, you've gotten, all this stuff, your travel's taken care of, if they're going to advance you for payment. Sometimes you're out this money, but usually you get enough to pay your expenses, right? But then you go out, you shoot the story, you come back with thousands of photos, and that's your first tray of photos. You'll generally sit down with a photo editor, okay? Most of the time from the magazine, right? Or the publication. You'll sit down with him and you'll go through this tray, photo by photo by photo. Sometimes frame by frame, pixel by pixel, frame by frame. They're really picking these photos apart, right? And this is generally a pretty fast process, right? It's culling photos. Okay, so that just go through them. And you might narrow that first tray down from, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 photos maybe. Say down to 1,000. Okay. And then from there, you just kind of keep narrowing this down. You keep identifying the photos that you're going to use, and you keep narrowing it down. You just keep throwing it until finally you get down to about 100 photos. Okay. About 100 photos or so. And then from there, each edit, right? You refine this tray a little bit more, right? So you're just literally, that's why they call this the cutting room floor, right? I mean, this is not easy stuff. Okay, so you're taking some good photos and you're basically just throwing them on the cutting room floor and you're getting rid of them, okay, because they didn't make the cut, right? So once you get down to each edit, each run through of this tray, you should be culling through more and more photos, getting rid of the ones that don't fit, getting rid of the ones that don't go along with the story, getting rid of, everything else, right? And each time you come back with another tray, this tray gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Usually, you end up with, out of 1,000 photos, a couple of dozen. I mean, really, if I'm totally honest. And then you let the editors and stuff pick from that couple of dozen photos that are going to be used. That's how this works. It's you pitch the idea for the story, the photo story. They might assign a journalist, a writer, or somebody, or a producer, or something to that. You go out and you take the photos, and voila. So the whole process is very complicated. I mean, this is not an easy process. I send out pitches all the time. A pitch is a short email, not a long one, to a photo editor that is quick to the point, gives them an idea of what you're trying to do, and you move on. Because guess what? They get thousands of pitches every single week. They don't want to hear from you. Even though they say, we want to hear from you. Do they really? Because chances are, if they're a bigger magazine, they've probably been pitched this idea before. So in the next video, we're going to talk about pitches and what goes into a pitch and what goes into a story idea, and how do we connect with those editors at the magazines or the websites or the publications. But generally, for the purposes of this video, working with publications is pretty cool. It's no, very seldom do they just pay us money to be on staff to take photos. Very seldom anymore do they have staff photographers. Most of us have agents that we work with, that kind of help us connect, or we have contacts at the publications. But yeah, working with a publication can be very difficult, but very worthwhile. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But generally, it starts with a pitch. I don't know if I've ever actually had them come to me and say, "Hey, Matt, here's an assignment." Usually, there was one actually. Yeah, the Texas water story. Yeah, the Texas water. There was. If I remember, I'll link it in the description. But yeah, they did come to. There has been a few times where they'll come to you and say, "Hey, look, we have this story," but it's the same process. I mean, you do a tray, you do these photos, you pick the best, you work with your editors, and then just go out and make it happen. But yeah, that's a kind of the story of it. I mean, you're letting a lot of most photographers have archives with hundreds of thousands of photos, and these are great photos that we have, that the publications or the magazines just passed by, and that's okay, because half of your work in their eyes is going to be unusable. So, and that's okay. Use it for something else. Use it for your own gallery. Put it on your wall. Whatever you want to do. You could sell it for stock. I mean, if it's that kind of photo, and you have the releases for it. But yeah, it's working for the magazines. It's a process, and working for the big publications is a process, and you have to understand that process. So, and the more you understand the process, the easier. I'm not gonna say the easier. I shouldn't say the easier it becomes to get work, but the more effective you become at scoring jobs. And maybe in the next video, we'll talk a little bit about pitching. So anyway, that's it. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit in the next video about how to pitch an editor. But yeah, working for magazines is pretty cool. I think you'll like it. But anyway, hey, by the way, do me a favor, subscribe wherever it is. Subscribe to my channel. And let's talk photography. I enjoy photography. Let's talk photography. I'm not the greatest at it, but comment if you think I'm a dumbass. Comment if you think I'm a big mouth. Think I'm right? Let's have a conversation about it. You and me, bada bing, bada boom, Texas style. Adios.